Well, good morning guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to Achill Island. Now, I last left you, I was just leaving a very wet and windy Silver Strand. Oh, that is not pleasant. Oh, lordy be, not pleasant at all. Oh. And then I made my way up to Westport, but as usual, Westport is a bit of a pain to get parked in. So I ended up scratching that plan and moving on and finding a coffee shop somewhere else. Did the whole boring task of shopping. It really was a boring shopping. Even 0% yogurt. Come on, Nigel. Where's the treats? And then I ended up parking about 10 miles outside of Achill Island, just in a little sort of fishing port. Lovely quiet night. Nothing much to say there. Went along, got some, refreshed my water before making my way onto Achill Island on Saturday morning. And the plan was to do parkrun. And it was a very small parkrun, and I noticed that the times of the parkruns sort of slow, let's just say slower than my fastest time. So there was a chance, now I'm not sure whether I've mentioned this before, but one of my bucket list items is to win a parkrun. Now, of course, I need to stack the odds in my favour by going to one that is potentially slower. And it turns out that Achill could be that very one. And so off we went. Now, the Achill Parkrun runs up the Greenway from just across Achill Sound. And it's a bit of a sort of up and down course, a bit of an up and down profile. And I set off, and sure enough, took off, and didn't sound like anyone was behind me. So I thought, oh, I'm going to win Parkrun. Nope. I know we like to encourage our youth to keep fit. 11-year-old Brian. Yes, I came second. I did, however, get a PB, so that's not too bad. Looks like I'm going to have to carry on my quest of finding a parkrun that is stacked in my favour and hopefully winning it. And then yesterday, it was a kind of a bit of a off and on day with the weather, so I ended up just parking at Keele Strand and just spent the afternoon in and out of the van doing a bit of work and chilling out, having a bit of a nice relaxing day. Went and watched the football last night. And then this morning I have driven down, as I think I said, down to Keam Strand, or just above Keam Strand. Now again, I think the week coming in is going to be quite wet. It's still very mild and not a lot of wind, but I think again that's changing. So again, I think today, Sunday, it's going to be another one of those slow and steady living days. The one thing to be mindful of if you are coming across to Achill in the off season, the public toilets are closed, which I find a little bit bizarre. Even if one of them was open, but yeah, the one at Keele Beach and the one down here at Keam Strand, both closed, so just be mindful of that. Now, a common theme that has been underpinning a number of these last couple of vlogs is me talking about slow and steady living, and I wouldn't say that it comes completely naturally to me. There is a tendency, and there has been a tendency over the last couple of weeks to kind of move on, and I'm kind of regretting that a little bit. I think I should have stayed in a Connemara region for an extra 3 or 4 days, go back and revisit some locations, do the mountain route again. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do here, just really kind of slow myself down. Not least, diesel prices have hit a pretty big high. The cheapest I've been able to see is about €2.05 or so, which isn't that great, I must admit. And so another benefit of slowing down is to not spend too much on the old diesel. I don't want you to think that I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, I can get all relaxed and chilled, and this is... I have found myself kind of battling a little bit with the whole need to move on, need to kind of do stuff versus, well, actually, Sunday morning, it's only about 10 a.m. I'll grab another coffee, I'll do a little bit of work, I'll wander down to Keam, and then by the time I get back into Keele, it might be lunchtime, and that's okay. Did someone mention coffee? Isn't this absolutely beautiful? Actually, a family guy even playing in the water. Just stunning. A little bit miserly, but doesn't detract from the fact that this place is just absolutely beautiful. And I can just spot the van up on the little, really hope it stays there as well. Not very many even places to park. Lots of signs up saying no overnight parking. I know people have stayed here before. I'm not too sure I'd be overly confident staying down here in an older van, mind you, because there's not many flat places, and so you better hope your handbrakes and your whatever are up to scratch. But what an incredible, incredible little bay. If it was drier, I'd actually take a walk over. There's a walk over. I might come back down here later in the week, but there's a walk over to a little abandoned shelter and a couple of other bays as well, which I'm sure are just as stunning, but absolutely beautiful. Make my way back up to the van now. Well guys, it looks like the rest of today's action has been rained off. What was supposed to be light rain has turned into torrential downpour for the last 2 or 3 hours, so I think it's mostly going to be van time this afternoon. Hey ho, hey ho. Hopefully we get a little bit drier conditions tomorrow. Wouldn't bet on it though. When we'll hopefully get to drive a little bit more around this cracking little island. But for now, hunkering down in the van, I think it's movie time. Catch up when maybe it's a little bit drier. Well, good morning. Monday morning. And as you can see, the worst of that weather has now passed through. It certainly was a van afternoon, yesterday afternoon. And then went out for a run this morning, and of course, I've been out for a dander first thing, seeing whether there was any photography to be had. None of that. It was dry enough. Put on my running gear, stepped out the door, got about 5 minutes up the road, and the heavens opened for about 5 minutes. Then dried up, which meant that I had to run the rest of them, sort of 6 miles wet. And now I've got lots of wet gear in the van, which during the winter time is a pain to get dry. But anyway, about to leave Kiel and going to spend most of today, well, a good proportion of today, just slowly driving around the Atlantic Drive here on Achill Island, and then obviously get off Achill later on today. But that's what we'll end up doing now. We'll go and have a bit of an explore of the Atlantic Drive, which if you've watched some of our vlogs before, you'll know it's a pretty nice route indeed. I was going to say time for coffee, but it's not. I've just had a coffee. Too much coffee. Actually, just very quickly before I get going, I might have hacked the whole lack of bins here on the west coast. Yeah, lack of bins, and when there is bins, it's only a very tiny opening. So I always say empty little and often. So we kind of just put a few bits and pieces into poo bags and things, which isn't ideal, but at least you can get rid of stuff. Because what we find is if you start to load up a normal bin bag, for all best intentions, you end up with something that just isn't going to fit in the bin. So I thought, I wonder, could a Pringles can be used? Now, I've got no idea. This may not actually fit in, but if it does, kind of packed full of rubbish, and then this can just be deposited in the bin. Doesn't mean you have to eat maybe 2 or 3 packets of Pringles a week, but you know, take one for the team. Right, do you reckon this is actually going to fit in the little hole? Let's find out. Well, it did fit, but for some reason the camera wasn't recording, so you didn't get to see the momentous part. But yeah, hack the bins on the Wild Atlantic Way. Just means eating lots of Pringles. Anyway, so I have now turned off the main kind of road through Achill and starting to make my way on the Atlantic Drive. And beautiful, actually, just especially with a bit of light coming out. Just that lovely burnt sort of autumn colours. It is a bit of a kind of a sheep dodging exercise as well, though. So, but this will cut through the hills here and then get me on to the coast. But yeah, just beautiful. Although I can hear running water and I kind of need a pee, so not really helping. Anyway, we'll drive on. You don't get very far in this road. It's just beautiful. And we haven't even got to the best part yet. Yep, Chinese laundry hanging up again. Actually, maybe the bit of wind and bit of sun will dry that out. So literally made it about another 5 minutes along the road and thought I'd pull in. It's 11 o'clock, pull in for a coffee. And I might take the old pixel box down onto this beach afterwards, but this house behind us here as well with the lovely red framing. Very nice indeed. This next, and it's a very short drive actually. It's only about, I don't know, maybe 10 miles or so. But I think there's going to be some rather nice opportunities for a bit of pixel peeping. So I'll get myself caffeinated, maybe have a wee sneak peek down on this beach, and then we'll carry on the Atlantic Drive on Achill Island. I really wish I'd bought those donuts I saw yesterday. Well, this is just beautiful. I did, however, spot a little bit of weather out on the horizon, so might have to make a mad dash back to the van, but oh, it's just, I just love this drive. It's stunning, absolutely beautiful. And actually, with the weather kind of just passing through in little squalls, it makes it all the more dramatic. But yeah, there's definitely some rain coming in. In fact, you can probably see that light starting to fade from my face, so I'm going to start making my way back to the van now. But actually, probably a really good, I've said this a couple of times, probably a really good way to explore Achill is on the bike. So park your van up, get on your bike and sort of cycle around. There's a couple of different loops that you can do as well. So in fact, we've noticed that quite a lot in Ireland. There's quite a few national cycle trails. So, but yeah, this is stunning. Oh, Ireland, none too shabby. You've heard me say that before. Well, isn't this all rather nice? There is a bit of a weather system moving through. I'm not sure whether you can see that behind me. I don't think it's going to come overhead. It might it looks like maybe the weather system is going to sweep up between the in the valley. And if we can maintain a little bit of sunshine, we might even get an old rainbow or two. But lots of things need to come together. And this isn't a photography vlog, so I won't talk too much about that, but see what I mean? The Atlantic Drive on Achill Island is absolutely beautiful. Set yourself a whole day. Don't rush past it. Don't just jump out at the sort of park up places and take a quick snap and then run on. Get out and explore, walk up and down. It's just stunning. And especially on a day like today where you've got lots of weather systems moving through, it just makes it all the more dramatic. So, right, well, I'm going to wait and see whether or not, no, my luck, the sun will go away, the weather system will take a turn to the right, and I'll get soaked. But hey, not a bad place to get a soaking, is it? Good job. Well, as usual, plans change, and my plan had been to drive along the Atlantic Drive and then get off Achill, as I said earlier, but I found a not too shabby park up and I'm just going to stay here tonight. I've actually just had a little afternoon kip, and now I'm going to head out. It's about 2 hours before sunset, so I'm going to just head out and see whether I can do a little bit of photography. But yeah, stunning park up. And I don't think it's meant to be too windy tonight, so ideal. I think if it was going to be a really windy evening, then I might consider twice my location, but it's not too bad at all. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Isle of Skye. Some of it just sort of very rugged. I'm hoping that this massive big bank of clouds in behind me here kind of starts to dissipate a little bit and gives it a little bit of evening light for a bit of photography fun. But feeling refreshed. Time to go and do some pixel popping. Well, that has been a very enjoyable couple of hours of photography. Light coming and going, rain coming and going. I think the best of the light now has gone as usual. Lots of cloud on the horizon, but we'll give it another 20 minutes or so. But what a place. What an absolutely stunning location, and you can probably just see the van. Really fantastic thing about photographing with the van is literally up there's a burger with my name on it. Yep, that was a whole lot of fun. Well, I'm going to hang around here for another 15 minutes or so and see whether that light comes back. I don't think it will. And then it's back to the van. Episode of House, episode of Ted Lasso, a burger, and bed. We'll see you in the morning. Come to Achill Island, do the Atlantic Drive. You will not be disappointed. Well, good morning, guys. And first of all, oh my goodness. So I was actually above the van recording a little bit of B-roll, and something caught my attention at the corner of my eye, and turned around, and it was an otter, literally just sauntering past me. It's one of the first times I've actually seen an otter here in Ireland. But what confuses me is we are surrounded by, like, I wouldn't say cliffs, but we're certainly 40, 50 foot up here. I was trying to figure out where it went to. It kind of disappeared off kind of around this corner here, and I sort of scrabbed myself up, but I couldn't see it. But oh my goodness. And that's the top off. Probably one of the nicest early morning views that I've had so far on this trip. But yeah, I couldn't believe it. An otter literally just sauntering right past the van. Not a cur in the world, apart from the big hunk of cameraman glaring at him and then crawling through the grass trying to find him. But another reason that Achill Island gets a huge thumbs up in this man's books: otters. Happy, happy days. Well, as you can probably tell above me, not much photography going on this morning, but that's okay. A little bit of light starting to creep up, but I'm just having a nice relaxing morning. Just had some breakfast, and just going to kind of chill out here for a little bit now, before making our way on to the last little bit of the Atlantic Drive here on Achill Island. Otters? Oh, fantastic! Well, guys, I have pulled into this little harbour here, and I'm going to make myself a second coffee of the day, and I think that is going to bring an end to our little exploration around Achill Island. Fell in love a little bit with the place that first time that we came, and that love affair has just been reinforced. Achill Island is incredible, and I certainly hope to get back here again in the not too distant future. And topping it off with seeing the otter, knowing that there's otters in the area, that brings a whole new dynamic to the exploration as well. So I'm getting off Achill Island, heading further north, but I guess that's going to be a story for next time. Once again, thanks a lot for following along, and somewhere in the ether, Nicola is doing a wave, I'm sure. See you guys, take care. This sounds all weird now. I'm off before I start rambling too much. See you next week, guys. Bye-bye.